I'ma keep this short. My ex dumped me for really strange reasons. I run into her mates at a bar, ex isn't with them. Wave at them while I join my mates for a round of beers and pool. Ex's friends come over, loudly state how she was an idiot for dumping me, and ask if they can join me and my mates for the night. I found it odd but I agreed. Fast forward a month and they have fully integrated themselves into my friend group, and one of the lasses and I have been getting on really well. Cracker part is apparently my ex is now regretting the whole thing and has texted some of the girls about possibly joining us for a night out lol. So to be even shorter, my ex's friends like me better lol. The supervisor who manages the people in one of the buildings I work in has been a real pain in the ass this week. He's going on vacation next week and making many of the employees upset by assigning extra duties while he's gone. They are duties that should really be done by the replacement supervisor. I'm not one of his charges, but I work with the employees he supervises and they've been getting really tired of his "you'll do it or you can find another job" attitude this week. One of his duties as supervisor is to fill out a whiteboard every morning with a list of projects that needs to be done on any given day. Today I replaced his new dry erase marker with one I had in my office that was out of ink. He had to walk all the way over to another building to get a new one again. English is my first language, but I'm pretty shitty in writing, so sorry for any mistakes. Please let me know if this should go somewhere else. I'm a college student, so because of the current situation, my school has said that no one is allowed on campus unless they have permission, which I'm down for. All good with that. Here is the issue though, the students have asked the school to reduce on some of the charges, like things such as the student union, which they charge $400 to use per semester. It's not like the food there is cheap either, and charges to use the gym and such. They said to students that they can't reduce the charges since the school is still open and is not closed, but like you can't come in. They can do this because the country the school is in has restrictions placed preventing people from coming in and staying there. So as I was looking at the itemized tuition bill after I paid for the school, is that they have a student involvement fee, what is essentially a donation to the school, and I see an opt-out button. I pressed it so fast. A few days later got a check in the mail for $2. Went and got a bag of chips, the best bag of chips I ever had. A month ago, this jerk ignores the covered signs directing people through one entrance. He comes through the exit and blasts through the self-checkout area loudly yammering away on his phone. Cuts me off as I was trying to enter. Comes within inches of me. Beyond rude and disrespectful. I'm enraged, but move on to bag my items. He flies back and with a bag of lettuce and some bananas, walks way too close to me. Again. Still blabbing away at full volume. He pays 10 seconds before I do. He's so damn busy with his important phone call that he leaves his items at the checkout lane. Cue PettyRevenge. I don't tell him and walk behind him out to the parking lot. I watch him disappear into the parking lot. I wait a minute to see if he comes back. He does not. I smile and walk to my car. How I felt. https://icon/entries/icon/original/000/043/disastergirl.jpg. So for context, our house is in a court. It's really small, but there was room for 4 houses, but they only built 3 houses. 16 years later, 5 months ago, they start to build another house right beside our house. Where the problem starts, when they started to build, nothing was wrong besides the noise. But then they started moving the trees they cut down. When they moved them, the sticks kept on hitting our house and cars. We asked them to be careful, and they told us they would be more careful. 2 months later they cut our power cable for our Wi-Fi and cable. We called Spectrum, and they told us they would send someone to fix it in 3 days. In 3 days, when they came, they gave us a bill of $20. We decided that we were gonna pay since they did it on accident. 3 days later they cut our power cable again. This time they did it on purpose. They told us that. We called Spectrum again. They told us 3 days again. When they fixed it again, we decided to ask the company to pay this time. They told us that they were not gonna pay. Me and my husband were done with all the damage they did to our house, car, and cable. So we decided to sue them. I can't really talk about what happens in court, but we won 2 times the amount of damage they did on our house, cars, and cable. They also had to pay for our lawyers. Sorry for the format and writing, I suck at writing. Background: I was around 11 to 12 years old when this happened. Me and my family went out on a nice walk, which I, my older brother and my mum cycled. The bicycle I was riding was second hand, gotten for free by my mum. The gravel path we traveled on was about 6 kilometers in length. Immediately I realized that the bike was not up to par, and that no matter how hard I pedaled the bike, it was moving extremely slowly. I relayed this to my mum. Mum, this bike is really slow and hard to ride. Mum, I'm sure it's just the gears. A grown person, like you, should be able to ride a silly bike. Let's keep moving. I was extremely tall for my age at the time. Me, okay, I struggled to cycle on the bike and my older brother insisted someone take a look at the bike around halfway down the path. My mum, being a proud and self-confident woman, swapped the bike she was using for mine. Immediately after getting on her bike, the difference was immense, and I quickly sped off, tailing my brother. I looked back and saw my mum become a tiny speck on the path behind. We reached the end and turned around, cycling back for about 1 kilometer, where we saw mum, red-faced and sweating on the shitty bike. As we reached here, I couldn't resist the urge and shouted, "Me, a grown person, like you should be able to ride a silly bike." Later on, when she eventually got back, I gave her a Pepsi and a shit-eating grin. I'm in a registration at a small hospital, currently working night shift. We got a call from a bigger hospital a town over saying we didn't send the patient's chart when we transferred the patient earlier. We know we did. They got nasty with our house supervisor and she exacted her petty revenge. She handed me the packet to fax and told me to send it exactly as she handed it to me. The whole chart was there, but they never asked for it in numerical order. Not everything was out of order, just a page here and there. I just laughed my ass off and did precisely as told. Hey, this is a relatively short story, so here we go. So this story starts with this one teacher. He was the worst English teacher ever, not because he was mean, but he was on his phone all the time and didn't teach us anything. I suck at English, and the reason for this? He didn't speak English. This is a French school, so some teachers don't speak English, but what was the principal thinking? So, we wasted time, and on the last day, we took a piece of paper, turned it into bits, 2 cm x 2 cm, and every time he'd sleep, me and my 3 friends would chuck a piece of paper down his throat, and we threw like a quarter, if a regular paper down it, before he woke up. He blamed the kids closest to him who were the annoying kids, so we were ecstatic. TLDR, teacher wastes our time, so we throw paper balls down his throat. This took place around 3 years ago. I was 13 at the time and my brother was 15. He used to pick on me a lot, as typical brothers tend to do with their younger sisters, but my brother also used to pull pranks on me. One time he put a lemon in my mouth while I was asleep, and another time he hid my money around the house. One prank pushed things too far. He wrapped his belt around my door handle and tied it to a bathroom door, so I was locked in my bedroom. He would keep doing this despite our parents punishing him for it. After he put a lemon in my mouth and locked me in my room again, I decided to plan my revenge. I wanted to give him a taste of his own medicine. I set my alarm for an early morning, just before my brother woke up. His bedroom door wasn't close to any others, and we had no lemons left in the house, so I would have to get creative with my revenge. I snuck into his room and zip-tied his hands to his headboard. As I did this, he began to wake up. As he did, I shoved some sour warheads into his mouth and sealed his mouth with duct tape to stop him spitting them out on me. It was funny watching him thrash about trying to get the tape off. After watching him for a long while, I retired back to bed as I was tired from waking so early. It was very peaceful waking up knowing there wouldn't be any traps or pranks waiting for me. Before I let him out, I told him how embarrassing it would be for him if he told our parents about what happened, and to my knowledge he never did tell. After I released him, the pranks become few and far between. before he matured out of it. I'm pretty sure he learned his lesson. I gave him a taste of his own medicine, and it appears it was too sour for him to handle. I was driving back to my girlfriend's house and decided to get a Rikes from a gas station. I parked at the only spot left because this rude man took up 2 spots. My girlfriend starts to get out of the passenger door and her hand slips. The door flings open. The man starts complaining and moaning that if the door hit his car he would have me pay for more than just the damages. My girlfriend kept saying sorry. I would have cussed him out, but my girlfriend didn't want me to point. We go into the store, get our Rikes and water. As we are about to check out, the man comes into the gas station and buys some smokes. As he was leaving he dropped a key. It wasn't attached to anything. No key ring or anything. Because he was Rudy Ruler. I didn't say anything. I just smiled. He drove away. If he was nice I would have told him he dropped it. But nope, rudeness gets petty revenge. A woman reading a book on the train took her mask off. I tried to catch her attention. Excuse me, miss, excuse me. As she was obviously pretending not to hear me point hello, she finally raised her head, not in my direction. Mind you, we were the only 2 people in that section of the train. Point excuse me, waving my hand, and she finally looked at me. I asked her to put the mask back on. Point we are far away. What do you care? We weren't. It's the rules. We are also in an enclosed space. Point yeah, sure, I'll put it on. And went back to reading. Point you're not putting it on. Point yeah okay. Kept reading. Point miss, can you put the mask on? You're not above the rules. Frustrated, she looked at me defiantly and put her mask on. You happy now? Well, yes. She went back to her book, grumbling. When she got off the train, she was still all worked up and left in a hurry. She forgot her sunglasses. I didn't tell her. Not the pettiest revenge ever, but it will be short and sweet. Point I work at a pizza place and most mornings I'm running the covered curbside, which entails answering phones, cutting ass, and packaging orders. It's a normal day. I generally love my job. It's boring. Phone rings. I take the order from an impatient man who just starts talking the moment I answer, rattling off his order without giving any info. Once he is done speaking and being fairly rude, I finally get his info and get his order in. He is very specific about everything. Things we always do. Told me to make sure his pizza is cut into 8 slices and the like. At the end I asked if he would like any plates or napkins to kill him with kindness. Yeah no. He asked for 18 plates, said it about 9 times. I gave him 17 plates. We all had a nice laugh about it. He didn't call back, but I just hope he was the one left without a plate. On my MNLSFO flight, Philippines to US, I had turned around in my seat about 4 times to ask another passenger to tap her touch screen gently. She kept stabbing at the screen/headrest while giving no fucks. Each time I asked her to take care, she just stared at me in silence. After the 4th time, she replied just fucking deal with it and continued on. This was about 1/3 of the way in on a 13-hour or so flight. Point on my next bathroom break, I went up to the young man seated behind her and showed him a message I wrote on my notes app that read, the lady sitting in front of you is playing whack-a-mole with my headrest. I'll give you $50 when we land if you fuck with her for at least an hour. He laughed and nodded. Point. After about an hour later I heard commotion behind me. Quit it, she said. It appeared that he had AirPods on and continued to feign sleep, readjusting to hit her seat every so often. He just ignored her when she finally got up and tapped him, quite hard I might add, and he made a fuss about waking up in confusion, offered apologies, and continued on readjusting his feet every so often for what seemed like the rest of the flight. Upon exiting, I waited at the gate for him and he waved away my offer to pay him. Really nice guy. Edit. Grammar. I used to have to share a room with my brother. He kept snoring and needed background noise to fall asleep, which was just an excuse to watch more TV, and when I said it was, he would start whining. I would always have to wait till he falls asleep so I can fall asleep, but he stood awake watching till 11. This was during the summer. During a school year he couldn't watch TV at all cause it was just bad apparently. When he was asleep, he would snore and sleep talk so much. One night I thought of trying to get him to stop. I just opened the window, and since he sleeps with light blankets cause it's hot in our house, he just was really good. He would still snore, but at a lower volume, especially compared to the calm crickets. He kept saying it was cold, but since I said I was hot he wasn't allowed to close it. Petty, maybe, useful, kinda, annoying snoring, suppressed. This goes back to when I used to live with my parents. My dad's a cool guy, terrible dad jokes and that laid back, he may as well be horizontal. My mum on the other hand, she's awesome but ridiculously illogical. Like you know when someone says something, and you just frown, and wonder if they're serious. It was a common occurrence. We had this broadband deal where she could record up to 3 TV programs at once, but one of the programs being recorded would have to be playing in real time too for it to work. IDK why she couldn't record the hour after, or just watch them as they were on because she was sat at home with us. So for a good 2/3 hours an evening the TV was completely out of commission unless you wanted to watch the latest soap opera, which you'd have to rewatch again in an hour or two when she decided to watch it. Me and my dad were watching a film on the rare chance we got to watch TV before the never-ending soap drama engulfed the evening. Mummy dearest decided at this point she couldn't remember what happened the nights before soaps and mid-film turned it off and starting watching whatever she wanted. This happened on more than one occasion, and it was freaking annoying. So long story short, I decided, if my TV time is interrupted, so is yours the first day. I stole one battery out of the remote. Obviously she was frustrated. The next day I hid the remote in a shoe. The next I put tape over the sensor on our TV, and so on. She'd put the remote down, I'd take a battery and go for a walk, then put it back later, and she'd think it was faulty ECT. It's not much, but she stopped recording as much and actually starting watching shows as they came on. I'ma keep this short. There was this girl in my science class who kept cheating off of me and asking for the answers. We both were trying to get into the nursing program at my school. I was so tired of her cheating off of me, so I purposely gave her the wrong answers so that I would get a higher grade than her at the end. I got into the nursing program and she didn't.